Hello and welcome back to All Elite Spotlight. I'm your host TNT. Thanks again for stopping in. So tonight's Collision featured two world champions making a statement and also a long-awaited reveal. And what do we have to look forward to in the coming days leading up to Dynamite? So let's kick it off. The show opened up with MJF, AEW World Heavyweight Champion, coming out, and he was pretty hot. He was not in a good mood coming off of AEW Dynamite this past Wednesday, where he got one-upped basically by Hangman Adam Page. So he came out demanding Tony Khan change the stipulation. He does not want Texas Death Match. He feels like he was robbed. It needs to be fixed right away. And cue the jet speed intro, and out comes Kevin Knight, 1/3 of the Chio champions, Jet Set Rodeo. So he came out and he is in full, as Shivani has been saying the past couple weeks, being totally cocky, over the top. Previously I was saying, he's not so much cocky as he is just being confident, but this time he was definitely laying it on. This was his first big time promo one-on-one, and here he is sharing the ring on an opening segment of the show with the world champion MJF, one of the best talkers in the business, definitely the company. So he's basically out there saying that, he is in every way better than MJF, dresses better looking, better in the ring, the whole 9 yards. And MJF, he gets ticked off. He says, you know what? Next Wednesday, you can have your wish. I'm going to put the AEW World Heavyweight title on the line this Wednesday coming up. And he's basically going to make him not the future or the present, but the past. So very good for Kevin Knight. He came out and he tried to hold his own on the mic. Not too bad for someone stepping out into that role. And he gets a world title match next Wednesday night. So great position for him. I'm sure you guys would agree that he doesn't have much chance of winning on that said match, but he can definitely give a good showcase. But the only thing to look out for is if he's made an example of. I don't see that exactly happening because Kevin Knight, he's been doing pretty well for himself. Great matches against Strickland and Okada in the Continental Classic, a victory over Okada. So we'll see. But MJF is probably going to look strong in that match in the end. But Kevin Knight, I would expect to give a great fight. From there, we went to a video package with Ciampa, Psycho Killer, and Jay Lethal. So pumping up that match for later on in the night. And what we have is just a video package highlighting the history back in Ring of Honor. They showed how Lethal beat Ciampa, I think back in 2015, they said, for a Ring of Honor title. So just to relive that feud a little bit to show that there's history between these two. From there, we went ahead into the 8-man tag match featuring the blood feud between the Death Riders and the Don Callis family. Yes, it continues. What do you guys think about this? I don't know what the end game is here. It just seems to be that these factions don't like each other, so they keep going at it. And for a couple of weeks, it might seem like one faction is better than the other. Right now, it seems like the Death Riders are getting the upper hand every time they go into battle. But let me know what you guys think if you're enjoying the feud, if you want to see it continue, how long, how do you see it ending? Do you see an end coming anytime soon? And is that going to be represented at Revolution by Moxley and Takeshita? I would imagine not, just because Takeshita just seems to be on the outside looking in at this point. So back to the 8-man tag, we did have Pac, Yuta, Claudio, and Garcia facing off against Archer, Romero, Alexander, and Trent. So The Death Riders had Shafir in their corner and Moxley was on commentary. What was interesting was Riders came out first. Don Callis family comes out with new music, music I hadn't caught on to before if they had done it previously. It wasn't that just obnoxious Don Callis music. But while they had their entrance, the Death Riders as a team were doing push-ups on the floor outside as the Don Callis family made their way down to the ring. I thought that was interesting. Straightforward match, for an 8-man tag anyway. Spotlight on Claudio again, just excelling with his strength and technique. Multiple swings, multiple European uppercuts, just great chain wrestling, the whole 9 yards. We've watched him for years and he hasn't lost a step and just seems to be excelling. Came out again in the mask, lucha mask, and I just love that. I gotta get myself one of those one of these days. Besides that, Yuta got to shine as well, especially since he was so focused on keeping his head covered because, yes, it still hadn't been revealed. So he's doing everything to keep that hat on his head while wrestling a match. So it looks really impressive, actually. Shows off his skill. He did get choke slammed by Lance Archer, and the force was so much that the hat actually slipped off his head or popped off his head. But he quickly put it right back on, had it on his head, but you could kind of see it for a second. I thought that was funny. Shafir ended up hopping in the ring. Archer got his hands on her, had her up for the finisher. She slipped out. He gave a snapmare. Our partners came in to help out, and that led up to the end. It was a Masako knee from Yuta onto Romero, 3 count, match over. As the Riders are in the ring, Takeshita comes out, and there's a bit of a brawl between him and Moxley. Then both factions get involved, breakup fight, and they make their way up the stage and go their separate ways. But we were so close to seeing that Shaved reveal, right? So maybe later in the night, yeah. It's long overdue, wouldn't you say? But that was a solid match. Good match to start. A lot of fun, a lot of good wrestling. I enjoyed it for what it was. Then we moved on to what they highlighted early in the night. We have Psycho Killer Tommaso Ciampa versus Jay Lethal, who came out with the tag team The Swirl, who he's been mentoring. So the team of Blake Christian and Big Shot Ali. So match started off hard and fast. They were open hand, chopping each other, just knocking the mess out of each other. But quickly you can see that the Swirl were going to get involved. Blake Christian ran into the ring when the ref was distracted, hit Tommaso with a German. Him and Lee Johnson, they both got involved outside the ring as well. So Ciampa was basically kind of at times fighting a 3-on-1. When he'd fight them off, then Lethal would get the upper hand. But it was a solid match. Lethal and Ciampa, they both, really exhibited what you all know that they were capable of. It was good to see Ciampa in that form, just, being really physical and hard hitting. And there was this one section where Lethal goes to do his handspring into the ropes, and Ciampa does a basement dropkick right into his face, then feeds him into this power bomb onto his knees. It was pretty vicious. Led up to the finish where he hits Jay Lethal with that running unprotected knee to the face. 1, 2, 3, match over. And looks like Ciampa, he wants to make his way on to a match against Mark Briscoe to go ahead and perhaps challenge for the TNT Championship, held currently by Kyle Fletcher. So a solid match, not a very long match, maybe 10 minutes tops, including the entrances, but solid wrestling. It was fun. It was good to see those two, bring back an old feud and just run it back. And it was very smooth. It was very entertaining. From there, quick video package featuring the Inspiration, formerly known as Iconics. Apparently, they got into it with the Brawling Birds back at House Rules in Australia. And they would be making their debut against the Brawling Birds at this coming Dynamite. So that's something to look forward to. It'll be their television debut, and it'll be the first match for the Brawling Birds that is, competition that isn't like local talent there to just get smashed. Which there was one of those for the Brawling Birds, because right after another video package featuring Clark Connors and like a movie premiere style promo, him on a beach, him beating up some guy in a, like, I don't know, this trailer storage thing. It was interesting, and interesting to see that they're trying to give Connors some promo time on his own to feature him. So we'll see what comes of that. But from that inspiration video package, we led to the tag team match of the Brawling Birds, Jamie Hayter and Alex Windsor. They went up against said local talent, Gypsy Mac. And there was a mac and cheese joke, of course, by the commentary team. And I'll let you guess who did it. And Gypsy Mac's tag team partner, Tyra Rusamy, I believe her name was. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. So exactly what you would think, just a quick smash and grab, total squash. The Brawling Birds got to throw off their tag team moves, hit their heart attack finisher, which sounded like might be called a 2 birds, 1 stone, and 1, 2, 3, game over. I won't spend too much time on that match. It was just a squash match, just to feature the Brawling Birds ahead of their next tag team bout against the Inspiration. So moving on to the next video package, it involved a $200,000 4-way tag match for next week's Collision. And the 4 teams involved will be the Outrunners, the Swirl that were seen earlier with Lethal, and Private Party, and the final team is Roosh and Dralistico. So that match will be taking place at next week Collision. 4-way tag, $200,000 prize. Should be a fun match. I like when they do the prize money gimmicks. I mean, I would imagine the Private Part will come out victorious in that one, but the Swirl, they're trying to give them some time, a little push. And Blake Christian's very good. I think he's a great talent. Lee Johnson's been around for a while. He's solid too. So, and the Outrunners, well, it's been a while. They were on a run. Since then, have been out of the picture. Rushel and Dralistico, they come in and out. So we'll see. I mean, my money would be on Private Party, second place, maybe Swirl. Maybe they can pull it out, but I would expect Private Party to come away with that. From there, we have the tag team debut of Protokada. Yes. So 2 champions, 2 single stars, Kyle Fletcher, TNT champion, and international champion Kazuchika Okada. They come out with Don Callis, who will be on commentary, and they go against Top Flight with Christopher Daniels in their corner. So Protokada, they came out with separate entrances, and Fletcher had this interesting like crown thing on his head. I'm not sure what that was. I think the announce team said it was given to him by Don Callis. What a gift. So it was a straightforward tag team match. Top Flight, give them an A for effort. Dante and Darius, they're good. They're smooth. Obviously, brother tag team. It's what you'd expect, right? It's not like they're not capable. They don't have that it factor or what it is. It's just hard to imagine that Dante Moore was, cruising and just set up to maybe be a breakout star. And now he's basically no more than an afterthought. But, that's the way it goes. And, at least he's still with the company doing his thing. And this match was pretty much what you would expect. Some good action by Top Flight, but ultimately pretty dominant win by Protokada. And after the match, Kyle Fletcher grabs the mic, does a quick promo calling themselves the greatest champions in the company history, and their team is unstoppable. And then cue Jet Speed's music. Out comes Kevin Knight again, this time with Speedball. And basically, they want to accept that challenge that Protokada is unstoppable. So Speedball's reminding them that, hey, he, being Speedball, beat Kyle Fletcher in the Continental Classic, and Kevin Knight, as I mentioned earlier, defeated Kazuchika Okada in the Continental Classic as well. So Okada was like, well, that may be true, but you haven't beaten Protokada. And Speedball, he just says the craziest things. The quote of the night, he was like, he pointed out to Kyle Fletcher that he has a cow udder pink TNT championship. Oh my gosh, where does he get this stuff from? So Speedball, he wants a title shot at the TNT title. And not only that, but he challenges Protokada and one other Don Callis family member for a trios title match. So that'll be either coming up in Dynamite or Collision. They weren't exactly clear on that, or maybe I just missed it. But so Kevin Knight's a busy guy. He's got the AEW World title shot, crazy, at this coming Dynamite. He wants a shot at either Okada's title. I'm sure he'd be happy with Kyle Fletcher's title. Actually, he said he would, when he wins the world title, he'd like Okada to be his first challenger. And then he has to defend the trios title match against Protokada and a member of the Don Callis family. So a lot of title matches in this kid's future. We'll see how he does starting this coming Wednesday. We go to a video package. This one is basically highlighting the feud between Darby and Gabe Kidden and Clark Connors, with OC, who's been involving himself and having Darby's back, basically fighting on Darby's behalf. So it looks like they'll likely be teaming up and going up against Kid and Connors. They didn't make it official, but I'm sure it'll be coming up in the coming weeks. Maybe it'll be a match for Revolution. We'll find out soon enough. From there, we had a quick one-on-one match. Toni Storm with Luther against Zeta Steel and Christopher Daniels in her corner again, because Zeta Steel is a member of Skyflight. And unfortunately for her, she went the way of Top Flight, just in quicker fashion. She got put down in a pretty quick and straightforward match. She did get some good offense in, suicide dive to the outside, crossbody splash from the top. But ultimately, Toni Storm stretched out her perfect streak on Collision. She was 13-0 going into this match tonight, left at 14-0. A wicked hip attack, and Storm 0, 3 count. That was it. End of the night for Zeta. However, not the end of the night for Toni Storm, because out came Shafir and attacked Toni after the match, I guess in revenge for this past Grand Slam Australia. She still has some sore feelings about losing that match, I guess. Attacked Toni. Toni got the upper hand, though, and was on her in the ground and pound position. However, Yuta came out for the save, grabbed Toni Storm off her. Big mistake, because finally the reveal we have all been waiting for. And by all, I mean at least me. And I know there's some fans out there that wanted to see it. If not all of us, right? She yanks the hat off his head. It's finally revealed. The shaved head, no more hat. She puts the hat on her head. Yuta freaks out, hauls butt outside of the ring, leaves through the crowd, but it's too late. It's been shown. He has the shaved head. And come on, guy, get over it. You had that long hair for all this time. The bald is good. See, nothing wrong with me having your head shaved. But I understand. I get it. So it's finally happened. Like a couple of weeks later, finally they stretched it out. Made you wanted a little more, right? And it was ever so sweet to see it happen, especially at the hands of Toni Storm, the person who shaved his head. That's justice for you. Then we go to a quick video package again. This time it's Hook backstage doing some recruiting for the Ops, and Bowens came out, interestingly, and made his claim saying that he'd been friends with Hook since the beginning, and he wants to join. He wants to have his back. However, Hook said he's got to be able to fit in with the group, because everyone there, Shibata, Joe himself, he called them all killers, and he questioned whether Bones was a killer. So he said he would think about it, and that Bones should think about it too and get back to him. So we shall see if Bowens tries to prove himself to be a killer or what exactly happens there. Honestly, I thought that he would be getting back together with his old partner, Max, but it seems like that may have fallen by the wayside a bit. Not sure what's happening with that anymore. But I gotta say, I've been kind of down on Hook lately. I haven't really liked his direction. Seemed like since Joe got hurt, he was in kind of a weird place. They weren't sure what was going to happen, or I wasn't sure what was going to happen to him in this leader role he's being placed into. But his presence was pretty good. I liked the way he was talking, his tone, his presence, all of it. So I thought that was a good job by him, and I'm looking forward to see where that little thing goes with him and Bones. Next, we have a tag team match. We have the Sisters of Sin, Julia Hart and Sky Blue, against Thunder Rosa and Statlander. They did mention Statlander, not surprisingly, has the most wins of all women in AEW at 117. A huge fan of Statlander. I mean, she does the work. She does great work every night, including this Saturday night on Collision. So it was a solid tag team match. Both teams worked together well. Sisters of Sin more so just because they've been together for so long. They really operate very well as a team. It's a shame they don't win more than you would think. It seems almost like they're an afterthought in their own group, their own gimmick. And Thekla just totally came in and took it over with the Triangle of Madness. So we'll see if they at some point get a challenge for the tag team titles again, or, find some other direction other than just being the team that goes against somebody else and gets beat or loses on behalf of Thekla, because they're more deserving of that. They had a great showing tonight, but ultimately what you might have thought would happen happened, and they lost to the team of Thunder Rosa and Statlander. It's a quick Saturday Night Fever maneuver, and then followed up with a Tijuana bomb and a 3 count. Julie Hart gets pinned, and out comes Thekla for her appearance and her post-match promo. She basically points out that she made Statlander cry and bleed, and she calls Statlander and Rosa the past of the AEW women's division. Thunder Rosa, defying self as usual in the ring, and Statlander just standing there in the background, arms crossed, silent, like she's really affected by that loss. So we'll see where that all goes. Thunder Rosa has a world title shot against Thekla on Dynamite. I don't foresee her winning. Thekla said she should just go ahead and retire. We'll see if Thekla leads her down that path sooner than later. And we'll see what happens with Statlander, if she can get herself back in the game in the challenge as well. Huge fan of Statlander. Like the Cosmic Killer thing. Don't much care for the armbands that she does with that, but she's amazing. So we'll see what happens on Wednesday night. From there, we had the main event, Andrade with Don Callis going against Ishii. And that match was exactly what you'd expect. Just great back and forth between the two. It's not a big fancy title match to close out the show or anything with like these huge stakes. Just two great wrestlers with history, actually, throughout the world, having wrestled each other in the past. But it was solid last match. And like I said, exactly what you'd expect from those two. Andrade doing all the things that make him great, and Ishii absorbing punishment for a good part of the match, and hitting back with his devastating chops and offense of his own. It all came down to that classic Andrade vicious back elbow that he does that just totally wiped out Ishii. And then from there he hit him with the DM, 3 count, match over. Again, solid work. It's not going to be like the match of the year, but Solid match. It was a lot of fun. Always good to see Ishii. And since I was worried that he might have been hurt from a couple of weeks ago in that tag match that he had with Orange Cassidy against Kid and Connors, it was just good to see him out there doing his thing and, doing it at a high level as we're all accustomed to seeing. But after the match, Bandito comes out, applauds Andrade, gets in the ring, puts his hand out for a handshake. Andrade spits on his hand, and that would have been a fight right there. Oh, man, AEW, those guys love just spitting on each other. It's insane. He took it. All Bandito did was point to the sign for Evolution and did the old pistol point to Andrade. So we'll have that match, Bandito versus Andrade El Idolo at Revolution. And that was the end of the night. Announcers hyped up for Dynamite the 2 world title matches, the women's and the men's. Thekla defending against Thunder Rosa, and MJF surprisingly defending willingly against Kevin Knight. Is he going to make an example of Kevin Knight? Is Kevin Knight going to make him regret that he would take him so lightly and just throw a world title match at him so close to Texas Death, no less? Let me know what you guys think. I can see it being a little bit of both. Kevin Knight doing a good job, but in the end getting brutalized to send a message to his partner in Jet Speed Rodeo, Hangman. So that was it. End of the night. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I thought all around solid Collision. Not the greatest show of all time in the history of Collision, but definitely solid and can't go wrong on a Saturday night to catch some good wrestling. If you tune in, you're going to see a good show. And that's exactly what they gave us. So again, thank you for stopping in and watching. Thank you for all of you who subscribed. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do. Please like, please share, please comment. And I will be talking to you again soon. Have a great day. Have a great night. See you later.